You got to love the emotional immaturity of those people saying, stand up to Trump and the US. We're going to show them. Show them what exactly? That we've lost 55,000 manufacturing jobs this year? Show them we're prepared to sacrifice what the Yale Lab and JP Morgan both estimate to be 278,000 to 510,000 job losses if this trade dispute persists? Sure, let's stand up to Trump as long as the job loss is somebody else's. After all, they're just blue-collar workers in auto manufacturing, agriculture, forestry, steel, aluminum, as well as small businesses who export to the U.S. because they're the ones who'll pay the price, not the politically manipulated crowd chirping from the sidelines. I say politically manipulated because the winning card in the last federal election was clearly anti-Americanism, anti-Trump. So I guess we can't expect them to forgo that winning hand. And by the way, the people on the sidelines who are weighing in have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. We don't know the contentious issues that are preventing Canada from coming to at least a trade framework agreement with the US, like 27-nation EU has, or the UK has, or Japan has, or even that 90-day pause in US tariffs for Mexico. Is the impasse over supply management like it was when it stopped trade negotiations with the UK? We don't know if the failure to reach an agreement, or at least a trade framework, is because Canada, along with China, are the only two countries who chose to initiate retaliatory tariffs. We don't know. But what we do know is that tariffs on Canadian exports have gone from 10% in January, 25% in March, and now 35% on some goods in August, with, of course, 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum. What we also know is that trade between the US and Canada is far more important to our economy, given that if all trade was halted between the two countries, over a third of Canada's economy would be crushed, while only 2.8% of the US economy would be. And given that the US economy is approximately 12 times larger than Canada's, free trade was always going to disproportionately benefit Canada. That's not to say the US also doesn't gain, though. I mean, they do significantly from trade in energy or automotive, agricultural sectors. But the losses in Canada from the trade dispute are much larger and are not shared equally, just like the gains weren't. So the people not in fear of losing their livelihoods can shout elbows up all they want. We don't need the US, without fear of being one of those 278,000 to 510,000 Canadians whose jobs are in jeopardy. They may continue to work politically, I'll tell you, that phrase, as it did in April, but it does come at a cost. Prime Minister Carney's big problem, though, is that he overpromised and so far underdelivered when it comes to dealing with Trump. There's nothing to suggest that he is the Trump whisperer we were told, or the only one who could deal with Trump. A statement that rings pretty hollow when you consider those other trade deals like UK, EU, Japan. I mean, clearly Prime Minister Carney wasn't the only one who could deal with Trump. To deflect from the big talk of being the only one who could negotiate with Trump during the election, the go-to line has now become, it's better to have no deal than a bad one. As if anyone is suggesting Canada should sign a bad deal, but also as if anyone saying that knows any of the details of the negotiations. But you know what? The good news is that there's a cure for the emotional immaturity on display. It's called, how about growing up and getting real?